Hi, champs. Welcome to another episode of Bloom with Frances. I know it's been a long minute. I really hope you enjoy my topic today. My topic today is titled What We Heard About Him. I can also say what we heard about her. So, as you know, I love stories, so I'll get right to it. David and Paul were friends. It never makes sense to people why they were friends because David was smart and reserved. Paul was the exact opposite of David. Everyone in their class in university accepted it as it was. Paul was very popular and everyone loved him. Well, David was, he was the reserved one, so people didn't really know him. One day, the best friends had a falling out. The fallout was Paul's fault. He had done something bad to David. The next day, David noticed people were giving him cold shoulders. Yeah, he never talked much to anyone before, but something was up, and he noticed. His suspicions were confirmed when he heard a group of students discussing loudly about him and calling him bad names for doing something to Paul. David was shocked. Paul had gone out and turned the story around. David never ever planned on telling anyone what happened, so he never quite understood why Paul would do that to him and paint him, the person who was wronged, as the bad person. Every time David's name came up in class, people would talk about the things Paul said. Like, can you imagine his best friend said he did this, his best friend said he's this, David didn't bother defending himself or telling anyone the true story. He couldn't blame anyone for believing Paul because, Paul was the popular one. He was their friend, and he was Paul's supposed best friend. So, to them, hearing that from his best friend, it could only be the truth, right? And besides, no one ever bothered to ask him what happened. Like, David, I heard this and that. Is it true? All they thought was, we don't know him. If his best friend said he did this, then of course he did. The best friend knows him better. Who am I to know who he is? And some others were like, we don't really know him. Paul does. Some said, Paul is such a great guy. We know that. That David guy has always been weird, so I'm not surprised his friend thinks has experienced this with him. Some others were like, he's a snob, always keeping to himself like he's better than us. Oh, please. Well, David forgave Paul and they went back to being friends. That didn't change what people had heard about David from Paul, nor did it change what they thought about him, thanks to Paul. Second story. Laddie was tired of her job. Her boss kept trying to sleep with her. She finally had enough and she quit. She applied for another job and was called for an interview. She walked in and she met her former boss on the panel for the interview. The interview went smoothly, everyone liked her, and she left with the promise that they would get in touch with her. The job was hers practically. When she left, her former boss spoke up. That girl is big trouble. She used to work under me. Trust me, you don't want a liability like her. She is very rude. She has no manners. She would undermine your authority. He went on and on and on and on talking about her. The people on the panel knew him, and if he was saying that, then it must be true what he's saying about Laddie, because she had worked for him. In the end, Laddie never got the call. Story number 3. Bee and her friend Flora watched their neighbor Alex driving. Flora hissed, Ron's girl. Always feeling like she's God. Ron's girl means sugar baby. Like Aristo. Nigerians understand what Aristos are. Or sugar baby as they are called all over the world. So that's how she insulted she went on Ron's girl. Always feeling like she's God. That's how she insulted me the other day, telling me I'm not on her level. Bee looked at Alex and she shook her head. Another day, she overheard Mrs. James and her friends talking about Alex. She doesn't work now. It's on Alhaji that gives her all the money she spends, buys her a car. Even this apartment is the one paying for it. Bee shook her head again and thought to herself, if everybody is saying the same thing about one person, then it must be true. One day, Bee was stuck in the rain. She tried to get a taxi as her umbrella danced to the dictates of the wind. She had given up hope when a car stopped beside her in the pouring rain. It was Alex, the neighbor. Hi, I know you. You live in my compound. Please get in. Let me drop you off. And B was like, no, it's fine. She didn't want anyone to see them together and label her as a Ron's girl too, as they have labeled Alex. And Alex went on, please come on, you catch a cold. Come in. B hopped into the car. On the way, she got to find out that all that she had heard about Alex was wrong. Alex worked in an IT firm and was doing very well for herself. She was called for consultations all over, hence her constant traveling from one state to the other, all over the country, and sometimes outside the country. And Alex was also nice to a fault. She drove B straight to her office, not before getting her a warm cup of coffee from a cafe. B felt really bad for believing all the lies that she had heard about Alex. In the end, B and Alex became very good friends. Dear champ, most times when we hear things about people, those things may not be flattering, they may be really bad things, and we hear like more than one person saying the same thing about the same person. One thing I've come to realize in this life is that people pass judgments on other people based on their biases, their principles, upbringing, values, and truthfully, how A sees things may not be how B sees things. We all see things differently. You might be seeing 9 and I'll be seeing 6 on the same issue. And then sometimes people report what other people have said about a person as if the experience was theirs. Like, can you imagine that girl is so this, she's so that? But that's what someone else said about that person. And they took it to heart and now passing it on as gospel truth. Sometimes people talk bad about people they don't know and have never spoken to. They assume, a lot of us assume this is how people are, based on maybe a word, how they are dressed, maybe you don't like the smile on their face. People assume a lot, especially about people they do not know, people who are quiet, or they just don't like something about their personality. Then they go about sharing their assumptions as facts, while other people go about sharing other people's assumptions or biased experiences with the person as facts. See, you might be the nicest person in the world, but not everyone likes that personality or will like you for it. Some people will see you as pretentious, then go around talking about it. Trust me, I know. I've had one or two people call me pretentious. Like, you're always acting like you like everybody and trying to be helpful. You're just pretending. Well, some hear how someone treated someone they consider a friend, and then to prove their solidarity to that, person, as in solidarity to that friend and friendship, they hate on the supposed bad person without even finding out if it's true or not. Just like, hey, my friend said this person did this to this person, so yeah, me too, I hate the person because my friend hates the person. It is totally wrong. There's some transfer gist they heard about someone from another person to someone else, like I've mentioned. Like they were the ones it happened to, or they were there and they witnessed it. The truth is, what you hear about a person might not be right. It might just be a rumor, a clash of personalities, a result of bias, prejudice, and all that. Before you write off that person based on what you heard from a friend of yours or based on a bad first meeting or whoever it is or whatever it is, why not decide for yourself first without any of the things you've heard in your head, or give that person a second chance? Have your interaction on a blank slate and decide for yourself if it's true or not. See, you may be pushing away someone good or joining the bearer of the negative tales in spreading their gossip and partaking in their acts. Imagine if everyone treated you by what they've heard about you. How would you feel? So, champ, give people a chance without using what you heard. Else, no matter how great they are, what you heard will always color your judgment and impression of them. It's also not cool keeping grudges with someone because of a friend. Like they did this to your friends, so you now hate them for it. That all that's the enemy of my enemy, or I have to show my friend solidarity by. No, it's wrong, champ. It's wrong. Champs don't do that. Champs don't carry enemies because someone like had a fallout with someone else. No, you don't do that. It's not the right thing to do. So, champ, thank you so much for listening to my thoughts. And I hope my thoughts on this have been able to help you somehow. And do not forget that you're a champ. And I love you, but God loves you more. Till next time, this is Bloom with Frances. Bye, champ.